Biz Live.
We've got live. We're gone live. What's
All right.
up?
What's happening, everybody? We are Brandon and
Nicole.
Berry, and we are going to be talking tonight about the art of an apology.
An authentic apology.
An authentic apology.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You can't hold it like that.
No, that's right. So
It's sideways, you said.
we're trying to figure out how to shut down Facebook and do a little bit of an experiment. And
So Sarah said you're sideways. Is
so
that
I'm
better,
sideways.
Sarah?
Sarah Sayak, what's up? So let me figure out how we're gonna hold this, and then we're gonna be good. Uh-oh.
Or not.
Or not. All right, let's just
Well,
focus
we're
on this one.
here. What's up, Karen? What's up, Brad? We're so excited to have you guys. Look, I know that you guys are going to appreciate this because we are talking about an authentic apology tonight. And, I mean, what's up? What up? Who
This
doesn't
is
know?
horrible.
Who doesn't need to know what an authentic apology is? Brandon doesn't.
apologize for making everyone sick.
Brandon's gonna have to authentically apologize for leaving, but you guys, can y'all see this back here? I gotta tell you, you see those little hearts there on the wall? Y'all, my little girl Allie, she was listening to the Code Orange revival today online with me as I was making dinner. And Craig Rochelle, it was from a couple nights ago, Craig Rochelle was on there, and he was just talking about how you should make every opportunity you should take every opportunity to encourage people. And he was just saying how the words of revival have to do with, I won't be able to see what's going on back behind you, but that was perfect. The words of revival, just take every opportunity. If you think something nice, just say it. And so all around my house, I've got these little like reminders from Allie. She decided to take it on herself and just like make these signs. So the one by the stove says, "Hey Shannon." It's the one by the stove says like, "Cook with love. Put your love into the food." And then this one over here says, "Families stay together." And those say love. And then there's one over there and it says, "You are sweet and kind." So I just thought that was really awesome. Our little encouraging girl. So
She is a big encourager,
she's a
that's
huge
for sure.
encourager. So she's got the revival in her tongue.
Yeah.
Got words of revival encouragement. So
That's right.
Anyway.
So I actually want to tune in. I want to tune in to the to that tomorrow. I know you've been eating it up. How can we for anybody who doesn't know, here in Charlotte, Elevation Church is doing Code Orange Revival. And
yeah, it's 10 nights of revival.
Okay.
They are on night 7, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can check that out online at Elevation Church. Just Google Elevation Church or Code Orange Revival. I mean,
How did you watch it? Did you go on YouTube?
I just went on their website
Okay.
a couple times, and then it was on YouTube a couple times. So I've been working on some pieces of furniture out in the garage, and I was like, I'm just going to listen to something and fill my spirit while I'm working on this. But it's been really encouraging. They've had like Craig Rochelle and Christine Kane, John Gray, of course, Pastor Stephen Furtick. Joyce Meyer.
That's awesome.
What's that guy's name who did yesterday? I haven't listened to
John
his...
Gray?
No. The Luskos. Liam. Luskos?
Lusko, I think is
Lusko.
is his
Okay.
name.
Well, I haven't heard him
Anyway.
yet, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. So anyway, but hey, we're just glad that you guys are here. Hey, Shelly, we're glad to have you. Hope that everything's going well for you guys. We're excited tonight because it's Berry Share Night.
That's right.
And so officially, welcome to Berry Share.
Yeah.
It is episode 10.
I can't believe it's already been 10 weeks.
Double digits, 10
That's
weeks
awesome.
of episodes. And so I've just had a great time, connecting with you on them. And sometimes they're a little bit more well-planned than others, but, whatever. We're not trying to be professional. We're just here in our living room. We just got our kids to bed. I think Brandon probably duct taped them to the beds because literally we just had them down here watching
America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent. a day late, but whatever.
Yeah.
So they got to watch Grace win, and then we were like, okay, go to bed right now. So does anybody ever do that? Like, let's just get you in the bed and don't even want to do like the whole routine.
Hey, I read a book, Brush Teeth.
You did?
Hug kisses and
How
rabbit
did you
kisses.
do all that? Did you pray?
I have magic. Huh? Yeah, it was like
That's impressive, babe.
I know, I got after it.
That's awesome.
So, anyway, I think that's the quickest I've ever done bedtime routine. Though.
You should probably do it more quickly like that more often.
Probably.
That sounds awesome. Usually Brandon falls asleep when he does bedtime routine. So anyway, I don't know if you guys know anything about that.
Do you guys do hugs, kisses, and rabbit kisses with your kids? I'm curious. This is just kind of a random thing, but I think we could get some comments.
Yeah.
What do you do bedtime with your kids?
Bedtime routine. What's the one thing your kid has to have every single night?
Yeah.
Go. Put it in the comments.
Yeah.
What do you got?
We could have some fun with that.
If you've got kids, what do you have to do every single time? Come on, I know y'all got something.
All right.
Anyway, as you're talking about that, we're going to look for your
reference
comments.
that, and that'll give us some fun.
Yep.
Comic relief as we go.
So episode
what are we talking
10.
About?
Episode 10, we are talking about an authentic apology. Authentic apology. You know, I mean, as a mom, and I'm home with these kids all day. Oh, hey Danielle. Okay, so Shelly says that you have to sing "Jesus Loved Me" and "You're My Sunshine."
Are we singing "You're My Sunshine"
we
too?
Sing that
quite
too.
a bit.
Brad says he has to kick them in the rear and get them in their bed.
I like that.
Good idea. Good work.
I like that.
Good, strong, Brad.
That's right.
Strong. Love it.
It's like Dad of the Year right there.
Yeah. So, as a mom, being home with these kids, you know, I mean, I got to work through conflict resolution all the live long day. In fact, on Saturday, we were here at the house, and we had not only our kids, but like 4 or 5 neighbor kids at a time, and probably altogether, probably like 8 neighbor kids, but they would kind of come in and come out. And so at some point, we had, 4 or 5 neighbor kids at any given point in the house. And I mean, all we did was do conflict resolution. I felt like all you did all day was conflict resolution.
Right. Max wants to do some conflict resolution. This is how you apologize. You bring a cat into the mix.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this was, you think, I normally, I'm surrounded by beautiful women.
Right.
America's Got Talent was on, and the girls were like, Caroline was like, Daddy, if you were going to do a talent, what would you do? And I was just like, my talent would be to have beautiful, kind, Jesus-loving little girls, and that would be my talent. And they were like, and then Ella's like, Daddy, so your talent would be breeding?
Yeah.
I was like, yes, my talent is breeding.
Your talent is
brilliant
breeding.
9-year-old.
We have really good. We're really talented at that. Obviously. So anyway, but we spend a lot of time teaching our kids the art of an apology, authentic apology. Because if it don't spend the time really working with them on how to apologize authentically, then you're gonna get something like this. Ella hits Allie in the face, or she's bleeding, and then Ella's like, "Sorry," or if anything, and so we have to work through. And it's
coaching, constant coaching.
Constant coaching, it never stops,
and especially with girls.
There's so many opportunities,
and there's so much drama. I
don't even know.
Hallelujah.
You guys having 4 daughters. Like our oldest is 9. Like, we're getting into it now, and it is mind-blowing. Like,
So back to Saturday. I don't even remember what it was about, but at one point, I was trying to have a conflict resolution session with Ella and 3 of her peers, they're all in the same grade, and they all live on the street. And so there were 4 little girls who all needed to have like multiple apologies for one another. And I was having to like walk them through with an interruption like every 10 seconds.
Oh my God.
It was awesome.
And I was holed up in the garage with the Clemson game on. Yeah. Hallelujah.
So listen.
Look, that's like a total role reversal.
Hey, whatever. So
better you than me.
Yeah. So anyway, We are so like all over the place today.
It's all good.
4 girls, can't imagine one is enough for me. I hear you, Shelly.
Right, Shelly? I know.
So.
But why is, saying I'm sorry, it's just not enough.
Right.
It's just not enough. Like, just saying I'm sorry is never enough. Right. And because it's so flippant, it's so easy to just say it, not even mean it. Why are you even sorry? Having to walk Kate through the whole understanding of why she's saying she's sorry, because she's gotten into the habit, and she's only 2.5, but she's gotten into the habit that, she'll do something and be like, I'm sorry, Mommy! Hug, okay! And then just like do it again 5 seconds later.
So we learned this as, okay, what's the code word that I've got to say to get out of my punishment?
That's what they figure out.
So they figure out. So even if you're trying to do the best, Danny Silk apology or whatever,
right.
Who, by the way, he's a pastor at Bethel Church, and they did like a parenting thing that we took our small group through. But even if you're trying to do, and make it formulaic, and say, I'm sorry, will you please forgive me? Like, I'll tell you, our kids, they'll turn that into just, I'm sorry, will you please forgive me? Like, just
rote memory.
Rote memory. They don't mean, there's not a lick.
There's no authenticity
of authenticity in that.
No.
And so what we want to do is, as adults and as parents who are trying to teach their kids how to have authentic apologies, we think we can do better.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna unpack that a little bit. Honey, where do you want to start?
Well, I was just going to say, the first place that we need to start with an authentic apology is getting to the point where you can actually take responsibility when you've hurt someone. How many of you have been in a conflict resolution where the person can't even understand that they've hurt you? Person doesn't even admit that, wow, I had some responsibility in that, because they'll use blame, and they'll just continue to just cast it back on to anyone else but themselves. Right. Today I was actually just thinking about this. Ella came into the garage off the school bus, and she says to me, Mom, I made this kick me sign for Aiden, and I put it on his back, and Aiden's a neighbor, and they're in the same class. And she goes, and then Aiden took it off, and he put it on Charlie. And then somehow, I don't know how, but it got on me. And I was like, did you get kicked? And she's like, yes! And I just could not stop laughing. I was just like, serves you right. But she got to the point where she was like, she said these words, it's not my fault that it got put on me. And I was like, yes, it is. It's exactly your fault. You would not have it ever put on you if you didn't make that kick me sign for Aiden in the first place. But it was just a perfect example of how someone can have a problem or have offended someone or set up an opportunity for someone to be offended and not even take responsibility for their own part of it. And so I think the very first thing that we have to do is say, if you can't take responsibility for it at the very beginning, then at least say, get to the point where there might be a possibility that you could take a responsibility for something. So if we're in a heated argument about something and I don't even see your point of view at all, I've got to put myself into a posture where at least I can say, look, I might have actually hurt him. Or there could be some way possible that I'm not perfect and that I actually did something.
No.
I know. No. It's hard for you to understand that.
That must be everyone else.
Someone else, obviously. But getting to the point where you humble yourself enough to say, because I've been in relationship with people where no matter what I tell them that they've done to hurt me or how it made me feel, they don't even take the time to think about their part of the responsibility. they just slough it off on someone else, or they bring it back into their own court and make themselves the victim.
Yeah.
And so
start giving excuses. And so I think that's a huge thing, is that in order to give an authentic apology, like, you have to like recognize that like what you did or said or didn't do or didn't say.
Right.
If you forget an anniversary or something like that, or like, then like that, if you're in a relationship with someone and if they value you and you value them, then there are some expectations there. There's some expectations that love would be reciprocated. And when love is not reciprocated, then you are when you're connected, then there's the potential for hurt.
Yeah.
And there's the potential for disconnection.
Right.
And so the apology, the heartfelt, authentic apology is is hopefully going to not just reconnect, but it's going to heal that wound.
Right.
And I agree. I think, taking ownership for what you have done. Right. And here's a huge point just for that I've had to, it's helped me a ton, is that her perception is her reality. Okay, and so even if I didn't mean it, and so a lot of people don't give really good apologies because they didn't mean to hurt. And so, well, I didn't mean to, and the intention wasn't there. And so, and so a lot of people think that if they didn't mean to hurt the other person, then they don't owe an apology to the other person.
Right.
And I remember the first time when somebody told me, like, okay, intention is irrelevant.
Intention is irrelevant.
I mean, tweet that.
Come on.
When we have hurt loved ones, intentions are irrelevant.
Right. It doesn't matter what I meant to do.
It doesn't matter. What matters is the way that they interpret it. And so interpretation is what matters. And so
intention
is irrelevant.
Interpretation is what matters.
That's right.
Come on.
And so her perception is her reality. When we say perception, I mean, it's hey honey, how do I look in this dress? Men never answer that question. Or lie. I'm just kidding. But
dang.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
But
hurt me.
Did it just hurt you?
Yeah, your intention.
You're not wearing a dress. But it's like, so if you flub up, and especially ladies, please don't bait your husbands into hurting you by asking questions like that. But if you mess up, and even if you didn't mean to, I mean, you could say something like, I like that dress, it's slimming. And then all of a sudden they cry and run out and be like, that's slimming, that means he thinks I'm fat. And then it's like, oh no, what happened? And so it's like, so it doesn't matter
what you answer in that.
It doesn't matter what I said. What matters is how she interpreted it.
That's good.
And so that's just huge. And so when you've screwed up, when you've done something wrong, and I've got some friends that are just like, what did I do? I'm sorry. Like,
I can get something off your face.
Yeah.
I just keep staring at it. It's like one of Max's hairs, and I just am like staring.
Okay,
sorry.
awesome.
That's what good friends do. We take things off people's faces and not onto each other's teeth and whatnot. So
that's right.
I'm your friend. I got your back. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's huge. So that's the first thing. Intentions are irrelevant. Her perception is her reality, and so I have to own what my actions have done, and then I am, the Bible says that basically, like, husbands, dwell with your wives with knowledge. And so basically, we're in a relationship. We've been in a relationship over 12 years now.
Right.
And so over 12 years, I've been paying attention to when I say certain words, when I do certain things, and when I do them with a certain speed, or I say something with a certain tone, then I've learned what to do and what not to do.
Right.
What are your hot buttons? What are not your hot buttons? And then I've also learned that, when you're ticked off at me, and sometimes
it's not so hard to figure out since I'm a peace breaker anyway.
Yeah,
but,
you usually come out swinging.
Yeah.
So.
But so yeah, first we have to really take the time and put ourselves into that posture of taking responsibility for our actions, even if we didn't intend for them to be what the other person perceived. And so how do we figure out exactly what that person's perception was?
Right.
Well, I think the first thing is going back to what we talked about in our episode number 2, which is taking the time to actively listen to others. And so if you and I have just gotten into an argument, and I'm trying to think of one that we just recently had.
So I had to apologize yesterday morning. You remember when we were making breakfast?
Yes. Let's talk about that one. That's good.
But I'm trying to remember what I did.
It was for the night before.
Because you forgave me, and it's all gone.
Okay, well I'll talk about it then, because I kind of remember it.
It may have a little bit of sting still there, so this will be rich.
So you guys know that Brandon and I are in this transition, and during this transition, our lives look completely different.
Yeah.
We're not at the same church. Brandon's starting a new company. He's doing consulting for businesses, which is something that. Is just being your own boss and having a company is new. And so, during this time of transition, we're trying to make ends meet before all the contracts get signed and get rolling. And so he's also working right now.
I got a side hustle,
He's
y'all.
got a little side hustle. I've got a side hustle.
Yeah.
So we are really putting in some serious time, and especially him. He's been working out in the sun for 8 to 10 hours a day. And so he came home the other night and was just kind of not happy with anything in the house. I mean, the house wasn't horribly distressed, but it was definitely looking like we'd had, 4 Berry girls and mama and a couple neighbors around, and I had cooked, but there was not anything that you're really excited about, and I could just tell.
I was just done. I mean, you ever had that day, where you just have poured out? And I read a book one time that said typically you have 6 or 8 energy spikes a day. I think I had used all of them. Yeah. And so by the time I got home, I was just.
Yeah, it was Tuesday. Yeah. And so on Tuesdays, I coach Ella's soccer team over at the YMCA, and he had come to the field because he was watching Kate, our youngest, and Allie, who's not playing this season. Caroline was in her own practice, so he was watching them, and then I was coaching Ella's 9 and 10-year-old team, which is just a bunch of kids, and so my voice is gone. I drove home your car that night.
Right.
Okay, and you had given me your keys, so I wouldn't have to dig my own keys out or whatever, but. Yeah. When I got home, he drove the van home, and I had the Volvo key in my purse. I just grabbed everything out of the car because he likes to have a clean car, so I didn't want anything to be left. So I grabbed a whole bunch of stuff, and I had this one single key, so I just stuck it in my purse. Well, you come in, and we're sitting down at the table ready to eat. I've already cooked. I cooked before practice. I mean, in my mind, I had done some serious. Loving of you. I made him an apple pie.
I mean, it's a skillet apple pie.
Apple pie. I cooked one of his favorite meals.
It's awesome.
I had brought you a cold Powerade to the practice.
Yeah. So she was really. It was
I was speaking the food love language. Serious.
Mega wifey points.
Okay, and he walks in and he's like, "Where's my key?" And we're all sitting at the table because he had been outside just talking to somebody, one of the neighbors, and so. He's like, "Where's my key?" And I was like, "Come sit down, let's eat while it's hot." And he's like, "No, where's my key?" And I was like, "It's in my purse." And he's like, "Why did you do that?" And I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
I mean, you're so upset about me sticking your key in my purse. Yeah. And I was like, "Well, babe, I mean, what did you want me to do with it?" "Well, you don't have to put it in your purse. It's black hole in there." Okay, it is a black hole in there, but. Anyway, my whole thought on it was just why are you digging this hole right now for us to jump in? Because we're about to have dinner and put these kids to bed and be done with the day. So let's not even go there. Anyway,
yeah. So I was
just decided not to engage that and just be like, sorry, you know. Well, the next day, I didn't think he was going to think about it. Well, I was praying the next morning. I get up early in the morning. I was actually praying for you.
You done sick the Holy Ghost on me.
I did. I sick the Holy Ghost on you because I was seriously praying for your mind the next morning, because I was just like, he is not, you know, I mean, I kind of noticed just how maybe it's just the heat or maybe it's just the stress of a new transition time. But, you know, like, he wasn't himself, and he wasn't, you know, plugged in. His words weren't laced with kindness like they usually are. It just wasn't. And so that morning, I'm cooking him breakfast. We're having this conversation, and thank you. I got some wifey points. Boom. And he says, you know, hey, I need to apologize to you because my attitude towards you has sucked, or something like that. That's all I got.
Well, so, and it went something like this, and it wasn't a formula, but it was like, I've been thinking about it, and I recognized, you know, that I was a jerk to her. I mean, just straight up. My tone, and I was focusing on the negative. And let me just say this: the reasons why, the excuses, like if you include those in your apology,
it deflates the whole thing.
Yeah, it kind of takes away from the authenticity. And so I just, like, did I have some excuses? You know what I mean? I could list them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I could say, well, I was tired and blah, 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 blah. And I like order and everything should have its place. But if I went down there and I started doing all of that, now I'm backing up. I'm really justifying my being a jerk. And saying that it was okay for me to be a jerk because my way is better than your way.
Right.
And it's like, I don't care what the rule is in my world. Mm-hmm. If it's everything should have its place, or like, you know, always put my key in my place. And it's like, at the end of the day, I was valuing the list over my love.
Right.
I was valuing the rules over my relationship.
Come on.
And I totally lost sight of what's most important.
Right.
And I recognized that, and I was just like, why was I being such a jerk to my wife who, and I was even in my mind, it was almost like I was outside of myself saying, what's wrong with you?
Who are you?
Like, because she just made you a skillet apple pie. She's been just being so nice to you, and it's like, why are you complaining? Why is negativity the only thing coming up? And listen, sometimes we don't have the reasons why we're jerks. Sometimes we don't even realize, and who knows? It might be something generational. It might be, you know, something happened to you. Who knows? But you may not know where the critical spirit comes from.
Yeah.
You may not know where the negativity comes from. But I woke up that morning and I just says, you know what? I need to own this. And I need to apologize. And so I was like, honey, I owe you an apology. And I was like, I'm really sorry for how I treated you. My tone wasn't right. And now that I have my brain on, like, I now recognize you were really intentionally loving me and in so many ways. And yet all I did was focus on like the minuscule one or two things that were like, it was just, and I'm sorry for treating you that way.
Yeah.
And I meant it.
That was definitely authentic, and especially when it was unprovoked. Like, I didn't know when he was if he was going to say that or, you know, anything. And so, you know, that was really cool that so I would say an authentic apology really, you know, you definitely get authentic points for coming and offering that without being provoked by me or in any way, whether it's me being like, you owe me an apology, or me having this conflict resolution, or me even just being, if I were more of a peace breaker, like pulling away, you know? So, but I mean, you took the time to, and I didn't really say a whole lot during that. I had already kind of walked through the forgiveness process because I had, you know, understood that you had stuff going on and that wasn't really you. But I mean, if we were to sit down and to have that conversation before you would actually apologize, you know, and I said, you know, this is how it makes me feel. Like, for you to be an authentic apologizer, you would have to actively listen to everything. Yeah. And so once you actively listen to the other person, if there's anything left out, ask those clarifying questions. And so, like, hey, how'd that make you feel when I, you know, gave you lip about putting my key in your purse? Something like that, you know? Then I could have told you, like, wow, it made me feel like you don't trust me to be able to take care of your stuff, and it makes me feel, like, kind of small, like your way's the best way, and I don't do anything right, and wow, it made me feel like you know, totally didn't look over all the other good stuff that I did. You're just focusing on that one little thing. Yeah. And, you know, that, gosh, I can't do anything right if I can't do this one little thing right. And how am I ever supposed to know what the actual bullseye is to be able to perform? And then you can go all the way into, you know, and then I feel like I have to earn your love and performance-based acceptance, and we're not going all the way into that. I didn't feel all those things, but I'm just giving you good examples.
Yeah, but you can. It can definitely slide that way.
So ask the clarifying questions.
Right. To really get to some of the root of it as to how it made you feel. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, you know, like this kind of ties into her perception is her reality. So if what I did made her feel a certain way, like, and we actually encourage, you know, when you're having an argument to actually, or when you're having a peacemaking moment, to actually use kind of that framework to say, when you did X, Y, Z, it made me feel, boom, just like what she said. So at that point, I'm actively listening, I'm asking clarifying questions, and then I'm empathizing.
Right.
And so that is kind of walking a mile in the other person's shoes. And so this is totally different from defending yourself.
Right.
And getting defensive. Right. And talking about, well, you did this. Or, I mean, that is like, no. Like getting defenses.
Yeah, but.
Defense, yeah, but. And once you say, yeah, but, like you've just killed that is like the opposite of an authentic apology. And so it would look something like this, to say, honey, I'm sorry. Or basically say like, wow, I made you feel all of those things. Like, that sucks. And
empathizing is you trying to feel those things or remembering a time that you have felt those things before.
Right. So I'm going to forgive you for interrupting me because I was about to say that.
Oh, you were? Sorry.
Thank you. But just saying, like, I paused because sometimes when you say something, you need to let silence do the heavy lifting. Mm. You need to pause and just let the person see and make an eye contact and let them see that you really mean what you say. And saying, so I made you feel like you couldn't hit a bullseye. Like, I've felt that way before, and that's no fun. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to make you feel that way. And I'm so sorry that I did. And I totally own that. And I have no excuse for it. And, you know, will you please forgive me? Mm. And so, do you feel that? It's like, it's real. Yeah. And that morning, you know, I had enough brains to authentically apologize because I care about this woman. I want to fight for our relationship and our togetherness because it's what it's all about.
That's right. It's intimacy. What it's all about. I think the big thing there too was after you've empathized and you apologized for making the person feel that way, it's also just saying like, and you did say this, like, I don't want to make you feel that way. Mm. You know, even something a la, you know, I'm going to do my best to never make you feel that way again. You can't promise that you're never going to do that again, but you can say, like, I'm going to make an effort.
I'm going to work on this.
I'm going to work on it. I'm going to make an effort to try not to do that again, or whatever it is for you to have to make a change in yourself. I think that that's really important to say and to speak it, because when we speak things, those words give power and life to those, to what it is we're saying. And so If I say, like, if you say like, hey, I'm going to work on not making a quick judgment of you based on where you put things in your purse, or when,
Sure.
I'm going to work on not getting mad at you when you put things in your purse that I need.
Right.
That would make a huge difference for us. That would make a huge, personally, truthfully.
Yeah.
Does any other wife, or husband, any other husband get mad when the wife has something in their purse? Goodness gracious, my husband gets mad at me every time I put something in my purse. You put something in your purse? Heaven forbid. But whatever it is for that part of your apology, think of some way to be able to say, like, hey, I want to be able to not do this again. I don't want to hurt you in that same way. I don't want to continue hurting you in the same ways. And then after you've done that, it's important to say, will you please forgive me? Not forgive me, not forgive me please, not I'm sorry, not Shelly doesn't even carry a purse. Lisa says, I do think it's important to acknowledge what you did. It always feels good to know that the issue is with their behavior. Yes, amen. I think that it's really important to ask for that forgiveness. Will you please forgive me? You're coming at that point in a humble way. Like you're putting yourself under the other person and saying, like, I'm giving you the power right now in this relationship to release forgiveness to me or not. And then you're putting the ball in their court. Yeah. And we've already talked about forgiveness, I think, in maybe episode 5, I believe.
But it's coming to that place where I think it's the submission. I don't know if you guys remember. For some reason, I got this movie scene playing in my head from Braveheart, of all things, and it's after his wife just got killed, and they buried her. And the whole reason that she got killed is because he had secretly snuck off and got married in the woods, and then that whole thing. They found out that they were married, and then basically executed his wife.
Right.
And so her dad didn't even know that she was married to William Wallace. And I just remember that grave scene where William Wallace is it's just. They're doing the burial, and then William Wallace looks up at his father-in-law, who just lost his daughter, and William Wallace goes over and he kneels like this with his head down, and there's this. It's my favorite movie, so I know this, right? So he's kneeled like this with his head down, and all of a sudden the father, which I can't imagine, if somebody ran off with my daughter and then she died because of, and the dad is he goes he wants to just hurt him.
Face, yeah.
And you see there's so much in that scene, and it's but then he releases that anger. And he puts his hand on his head. And it was just a nonverbal forgiveness. But I feel like that of what William Wallace did is he placed himself under... He humbled himself. It was humility, really. And so, let me just say this. An authentic apology is humility required. You can't be full of pride and have a good apology.
Yeah.
You have to actually place yourself under the person that you've hurt, even if you didn't mean to hurt them. But you place yourself under them, and you're actually giving that person power. You're not commanding them, saying, "Forgive me." You're not saying sorry.
Yeah.
But you're saying, and William Wallace did it without words. But you're saying, you can choose to be mad at me the rest of your life. You can choose to hurt me. You can choose to be bitter. You can choose to harbor this anger the rest of your life. But I am submitting myself to you, and I will you please forgive me?
Yeah, and I really wouldn't say all those other things that you just said. You can
What?
choose to be bitter and all.
No, no, I'm not saying you say that.
Don't say those things.
Don't say that.
You can choose to be bitter and not forgive me,
No.
but I'm humbling myself and asking you.
No.
So, no, but when I'm...
You don't ever... Did I say that I should say that?
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I'm going to rewind the tape.
Whatever. Y'all tell us. Did he say it or not?
I don't know.
I think he totally did. But,
no.
I would say
those
this.
are the options.
Yes,
though.
those are your options, and I would hope that the other person would not choose to be bitter for the rest of their life over something. I mean, but something like what William Wallace's father-in-law, he did have the opportunity to be bitter. But, I would say this to your example on that, with the William Wallace thing, is that, like, I think maybe guys especially try to do something instead of an actual apology, and so you guys get in a fight, you and your husbands and wives get in a fight, and then maybe instead of really working through that, they do something.
Just go get a gift.
They bring flowers
to say that they're sorry.
Yeah, maybe they're trying, and really what they're doing is they may be using one of the love languages to reconnect, but that's just the first step. You actually have to walk through the spoken words of an apology, because otherwise, if we got an argument and then you just clean the whole house and I came downstairs to a clean house, like, I would feel better about being able to talk to you about our argument, but that's not an apology. Right. And I think that guys especially tend to do something like that. Yeah. I mean, girls do too at times.
So it's like a wound, and so let's say I stabbed you in the kidney over here. And
why do you always use that as an example?
I don't know. I just think,
you guys, I'm like worried. I'm hiding the knives.
I'm sorry. So let's say I stabbed you in the kidney. Okay, and then I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Let me bring you flowers. Okay, the flowers don't heal the kidney. Right. Okay, what heals the kidney? Well, you actually have to address the wound. And so we actually have to have a conversation about the wound. Right. In order to bring healing to what happened. And so I think this is another just big rule. We've mentioned this multiple times, is that you got to deal with one topic at a time.
Just one.
And so so that morning I was apologizing to Nicole for my sorry attitude. And for not recognizing, and I did then, thank her for the amazing skill at apple pie and for all the things that you did.
You acknowledged all the stuff.
I acknowledged all of that, and you know what? There actually wasn't anything at the time, but a lot of times when you've hurt each other, it's usually hurt people. Yeah. And so a lot of times it's like, well, I stabbed you in the kidney because you stabbed me yesterday. Okay, and I'm still hurt about that. But listen, I'm telling you, like, if you try to bring up your stab wound while you're apologizing, it's just gonna, it's like it contaminates the wound. It does. And so what we want to do is we want to address one wound at a time.
So you would get through that entire apology. Will you please forgive me? Maybe the person says yes. Maybe they say, I'm going to need to talk about it or think about it. Or
I need
pray about
time
it.
to pray.
Right.
But
But whatever it is, especially if you get to a point where they're like, yes, I forgive you, you know, you may want to say, you know, can we talk about something? Can we talk about something else?
There's something else that I'd like to talk to you about. Would it be okay if we talked about that now?
Yeah. Karen says, what if when you try to address one issue, it turns into something else? I would say this: if you're trying to address one issue and it starts to turn into something else, it's usually a pretty good practice just to be like, can we write that down, pause on it? Can we just focus on this one issue first, and we can get back to that one after we're done. Right. But sometimes you just have to say, like, time out. Like, that's a whole nother issue. Let's finish this one and then get to that one. We can get to it tonight, or let's finish this one tonight and maybe it's late. You know, let's talk about that one in the morning over coffee. Yeah, and so I think that's probably a pretty good answer. Do you have any other thoughts to that? Like, what happens when you're trying to talk about one thing and then it turns... I mean, because that stuff can snowball. And if you've got a lot of things going on...
Yeah.
You know, and especially if you have a relationship that, you know, you guys argue a lot. There are some people who they love each other, but they just get they clash a lot. And so they have a lot of, you know, offenses that build up. And so I would just say, you know,
I mean, if there's a lot of things and you recognize, hey, there's a lot of landmines here, I would say you probably could use the help of a mediator to help you navigate. If you feel like, because if every time you're having a conversation about one thing and it ends up going into some 2 or 3 other things, you know, usually that person has some deeper wounds that has nothing to do with you. That probably has to do something in their family of origin, and they need some inner healing.
Yeah. You might need a counselor. You might need to
a counselor. But at the very least, sometimes in order to fight fair, you need a referee.
Yeah.
You need a mediator. Just like those 4 girls up in that room for that hour, I was the referee to help them to be able to fight fair and to walk through to give them these same skill sets that we're talking about with you guys tonight, of just saying, hey, when you did this, it made me feel like this. And they were able to, you know, through 100 interruptions, authentically apologize to each other, and then they moved on, and they're playing the rest of the day.
It was good.
So,
does anybody have any other questions or anything else, comments, thoughts? You know, just want to shout out, whatever. We'd love to take another couple minutes just to answer whatever you've got. If you don't, that's cool too. Yeah, the cat, he is like totally trying to steal the spotlight up on this place because he comes almost every single video, and you can go back and look and see how see how many times he's jumped up here. So he did it one time, and he's done it every time since. So Shelly, we're glad to have had you. Carissa, we love you. Karen, thank you guys. Lisa, thank you guys so much for participating with us. We've had a great time. And be sure to like this, share it on your wall. I appreciate one of the comments from Katie up there. She just said that one of our friends introduced her to Berry Share, and I just appreciate that. We're not trying to make some big, huge platform for us to get rich or anything off this. We just want to help people, and so we would love for you to feel good about putting this on your own wall, liking it, sharing it, telling other people about it, because if it's helped you, it could help someone else. And not that we have all the answers, but we've just walked through a lot of this.
We've sat with a lot of people who have been hurt.
Yeah.
And who we feel like we've just got a bunch of tools that we've been given, and that through avenues like this, we can share those tools. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to build a house without any tools.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have the relationship toolbox to be able to really build a house that's going to last, especially when the storms come.
Right, and they will come. So one of the comments here just said, I wish I would have been able to see all of it. It will be online on our Berry Share Facebook page in its entirety. You can go back and watch it after we're done. A few minutes later, maybe a couple hours later, they'll have the entire thing up online. Also, we have it on our YouTube page, and you can go through our berryshare.com website to get a hold of that. So there's many ways that you can go back and watch this. Not only this one, this is episode 10. You can go back and watch all the other episodes on what we've done, what we talked about. We've had a series on communication, and this is just finishing our final series, our last series on conflict management. So we're so glad to have you, and thanks again for being here with us, and we'll see you again next week.
All right.
Thanks.
Peace, guys. Love you.